Hi, my name is Dean Walls, and this is my game Escape from Key Castle. If you just want to hear me talk about my code, jump ahead to 4 minutes in the video. So, this is my game. The object here is to, in each of the 5 levels, collect 5 keys, and you must collect the key using the character of the same color. So here we see that the green character cannot collect the peach colored key. It's okay if 2 of the characters die on one level, that's not a problem, you can still pass it. However, you only have 5 lives in total throughout the game, so if you were to lose 2 characters on every stage, you would be dead by level 3. Here we see our first character getting hit and dying, so our lives have incremented down to 4, but we're going to be just fine to pass this level. You'll notice that the red shots fire at regular time intervals. However, they do not all fly at the same speed. This is programmed in so that there are 5 different speeds at which the balls are fired, and also with each level the balls get a little bit faster. So the player is responsible for controlling all 3 of the characters simultaneously, which makes the game a little bit tricky. Of course, having only 2 hands and having to negotiate 3 directional pads on the keyboard. The main idea here was to make simple characters that were not especially defined in terms of gender or personality, while still giving a little bit of attitude for some fun. I wanted this to be accessible for any player, and yeah, I hope you enjoy. This is just a very simple key collection game. One special touch added to the game you'll see coming up here. Every time you pass a level, there are 3 different successful screens that can be shown. So one of the 3 characters will offer a little message. I'll now show you what happens when you lose the game. It's the same effect. There are different possibilities for the message at the end. But here we'll see what happens when all 3 characters die in one level. So that's my game. Stick around if you want to see some of the code. Hi, this is Dean, and I'm going to show you some of the code for my game Escape from Key Castle. What I made here was a game in which the player controls 3 characters simultaneously, trying to dodge cannonballs, I suppose, while, well, bouncy red cannonballs, while collecting keys that correspond to character colors. So, I wanted the characters to seem somewhat abstract, blocky and simple, and yet have a little bit of attitude, and I'm going to show you how I tried to do that. So the game starts out with a story screen, and really it's just cycling through costumes while some music plays. And the costumes, when overlaid on the background, just showed sort of an animated intro movie, I suppose, telling the tale of these 3 troublemakers and how they got here. Some other fun costume changes were when we pass a level. So there are 5 levels in the game, and for each one, each character has a comment. So you can see if we were to pass level 2 here, you may hear success, wow, so much awesomeness. Or you might get a slightly more attitude filled, took you long enough. And then if you were to complete all of the levels, then you would see this, which said, yay, you saved us, you're the best, play again. So uh, this was really just done by creating a random number generator, and when the levels passed, choosing a number from 1 to 3 and assigning the appropriate costumes. So that allowed a little bit of variation from game to game. Now the characters themselves are fairly simple. The costumes are just static and then 2 walking images. You can't see it very clearly here, but you'll see on the script that their costumes are just constantly changing to give them the look of walking. Mostly their code consists just of movement. They do bounce off the edges as well as off of the cannon base, so I didn't want them walking through any objects inappropriately. But nothing much else there. If they are hit by a shot, they sort of cycle through this rainbow of colors to indicate that they are dead. Um, the shots themselves were all different. So if you have a look here where the movement is described, you'll see that for number 1 it is 1.9 plus 0.2 times level number, whereas number 2 is a different value of 1.1, and number 3 is the value of 1.7, and so on. So each shot was actually firing at a different speed from all of the others, and this makes it a little bit trickier to dodge, I think. When some are moving slow and some are moving more quickly. And then as the level number increases, of course, they all move faster. So the keys which you had to pick up, there was really just one key and it would change different colors. So depending on which color was shown, only the character of that color could pick it up. Now, I named the characters with initials A, B, and C because I have 3 directional pads being used at the same time and wanted to make sure that the player had some way of organizing this mentally. So A would be the leftmost, the WASD, whereas B would be the IJKL, and C would be the arrow keys. So from left to right, it was easier to keep that together. The turret had a random starting position so that it didn't always fire in the same position from game to game, but otherwise moved at the same speed for every level and shot at the same uh, interval. Oh no, I didn't shoot at the same interval time, did it? That's on the shots, I guess. The shots do fire at the same intervals of time. Um, yeah, I think the game worked out fairly well. If I were doing it again, I might change the characters' speeds to be different. I noticed as I watched a lot of people play, they would put the characters together and really treat the 3 as one, and I wouldn't mind avoiding that. But otherwise, I think it turned out as planned. So, a fun project, and yeah, hope you learned a few tricks from the code.